All right, and welcome back to another session. And today we want to discuss the topic of abundance, and more particularly, how to achieve abundance. I think that oftentimes we see life, or we can see life sometimes as being scarce, as there's not many opportunities. We might, especially in the last 12 months, 2020, we might think that there's no job opportunities, no, there's not enough money, there's not enough, whatever the case may be. And so that's the topic we want to talk about today is, how do we achieve abundance?
This is a very interesting topic. It's one of my favorites. No, by the way. Well, we have to understand first, what abundance is. This is a Latin word. It means abundancia. Okay? And abundance means there's plenty. Okay? Or it's a very large quantity of something. Okay? It's impossible to count. That's abundance. So it is the tendency and nature in our life to manifest, and grow and become more. This is kind of part of the design. Okay? So life forced to produce more and create more everything. So there's always new trees, there's always new plants, there's always more fruit. Okay? And even when there is a greater number of people in a community, you're going to find more. Actually, more people that are professionals, more resources. And it's interesting because, this is what is something that's difficult to see, because in a mind that is set into a lack of something, okay, it is the opposite. So the reasoning, it is, okay, is limited. So, and that limitation is what it moves people to kind of analyze things in a way that is just totally far from what really life design is. So we have seen, there are communities where they were small, and then eventually grows, and these communities become something that, if you observe the history, of those communities, you will say, my goodness, how in the world, okay, this place is sustainable, okay, when it's 5 million people, or 20 million people, or 80 million people. So this is the limitation we have by seeing things, because normally we use sensors, okay, and the sensors that we have, which is what we see, what we hear, what we touch, smell, it has limitations. Okay, we cannot see everything that is going on in this world. Okay, some animals, they can actually see colors that we don't see, shapes that we don't see. Okay, some other animals can see the reflected the heat, body heat, okay, as solid things. Okay, so that's like bats. No, that's something we cannot see. So we're limited, really, even though this is true. Now we can use goggles and see. At nighttime we can see the movement of things, and we can see trees because it's life. This heat that reflected that normally with our eyes, without any kind of a intervention, we can see. So that's, and so in nature it is something. There's so many things that are incalculable. As a matter of fact, now scientists are so dumbfounded by the fact that our limitations, and we're trying to really make new discoveries. Create new instruments, and there's more technology that kind of let us see maybe another 1% of everything that exists. So that's with the abundance part. So these forces, that produce more is what interesting. Now, new things are being constantly invented. That's another thing. There's new cars, are being produced. There's new houses. And, we look at it, and if we have lack of this, seeing this, we might say, wow, no, we're going to overpopulate. And suddenly we're going to be killing each other and eating each other. Like, I don't know if you remember, you see any of those videos, clips that were placed on the 70s, where some people, scientists and philosophers, they were in psychology, they they were bringing up some things that were kind of with numbers and statistics, indicating that by the year 2000, okay, there'll be no room for anything, and we'll die, and we're gonna be killing each other. And this is what's saying in the year 1970, okay, overpopulation. No, and it came with some other stories that 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 some people believe that. No, and of course, now you read that and listen to those statements, and you probably laugh a little bit. Okay, what is the wisdom there? I don't think these people were ignorant. They just kind of did not see things completely. They were just kind of seeing it from their own subjective experience, the limited experience that they had. So now scientists, they know that the universe is always expanding and it's growing, and even new stars are being created. This is abundance, and looking from the cosmic level. Okay, so and real abundance is in everywhere in the universe, and it can also appear in our personal life. Okay, but we have to let it. So it appears as same as multitude of plants and animals and various forms of life, and it's the same way as there's endless numbers of stars. See, now in the universe, the stars are constantly being created. Now also new trees are, new people born, new sources of energy that exist, we start discovering. So this universe seems to be constantly creating new things. So we are actually part of that planting. Okay. Now, if we lack this plenitude in life, it is because of negative thoughts and attitudes that are blocking it. So people often, they associate these terms with money. Okay? We associate this wealth. And having a lot of money, they consider symbols. However, abundance manifests in many ways, not only as plenty of money and plenty of possession. So abundance really is an ample quantity. And there's definition, from different dictionaries. The situation is where it's more than enough something. So that means if it's more than enough, that means that this is really manifested. And how it manifested, this means that, that is there. So we have to be let it. Now, how we can reach out to abundance. Okay, number one, we need to consider the possibility. And of course, it's hard. We see things with my eye. I know that you're there, somewhere in another part of the town, and I know that. Okay, and this is something that I know, even though I'm not touching you, Ulysses, but I know you're there. Okay. Now, when it comes to abundance of anything, abundance of love, abundance of wealth, abundance of friendship, abundance of patience, abundance of forgiveness, abundance of every single thing that we can consider as the things that help us to really enjoy this life. We have to really consider that's possible. Number one, just imagine an ocean that has no end. It's so deep that you can probably take, I don't know, maybe 100,000 of gallons of water every day, and instead of diminishing the amount of water, it increases. Okay, so the possibility that there's more, because this is what life is. The more that you do something, the more you get into something, like discoveries. No, we discovered about light, how it works. We didn't invent it; that was there. Okay, now once we got there, we move towards growth, and then we find other things, and just keep finding. And now it's just technology. It's just so amazing, that we enjoy this life with this abundance. And how this start? It start with someone that consider the possibility. That's it. Okay, and we have to do the same with our life. If you're having challenge with health, if you're having challenge with a relationship or with money, just consider, and this is not an illusion. This is not about a wishful thinking. No, it doesn't work that way. Wishful thinking is more like cognitive. It's reasoning, analyzing. No, this is a feeling. Okay, just a feeling that there is possible, that there is there enough for everybody. There's plenty. So that mentality, it helps you so much because a lack of the mentality, it makes you feel envious. You want to covet things. Okay, you get jealous. Okay, you compare your mind with other mind. You compare your things with other people's things because it's so limited. You think that there is so much that you might miss your opportunity if you don't push this person at work, or if you don't make this lie to market so you can make more sales. Okay, if you don't manipulate your kid so they can obey you because you don't see that there is abundance of opportunity for growth and learning for your kids. So now we want to manipulate it. Okay, if I don't get the things now, it's gonna be gone. So I need it now. So this obsession and compulsive, tendency are really, a result of this. But if you consider the possibility that it's there, and if you just reach, okay, something like that that's there, it grows. Okay, and then your finite mind that don't see everything and cannot perceive everything might say no. I learned in math. If I had 10 and I take 2 out, it's only 8 now. It doesn't work in nature that way. Actually, if you go out and take 2 out of there, it increase to about probably 20. So, and if you take another 10, it increased to probably another 40. What that means? That means, oh my goodness, this is a discovery we cannot make. And say, so that means if my friend takes from there, it's going to grow. It's going to be more for everybody. So now I want everybody to have that too. I want my neighbor's son to be able to have success. I want my neighbor's daughters to be able to have success. If I have my kids in Yale or Harvard, I want everybody's kid to be in Yale and Harvard. If I have a house, I want everybody to have a better house. Because if they have a better house, I mean there's more there. And the third part on this abundance mentality is the fact that you don't need to rush it. You know it's there. Okay? And you only take it when you need it. Okay? And the component of the biological and physiological components to our mortal existence to this body is, as we say, one of the other chapters that we record, chemicals like dopamine, they balance out. Okay, you go after something you want and you need. Okay, through dopamine, but at the same time you are content, and you can go through the process of walking toward your goals and enjoy every step of the way. So the whole process. So when you get there, it's not only let's go and have a party because we win the championship and have a good night. Okay, but no, it's the feeling of gratitude to the process. So the party, when it's not over the next day. So the embracing of the experiences through the whole process are going to get what you really want in your aspirations as you embrace this process, whether it's by getting in the phone and start talking to prospect if you're in business, or maybe it is if trying to figure out how to prospect, or maybe taking the class to learn how to prospect, or maybe the next proposal you make. So this whole process, as you understand, how the every step is producing dopamine, and your really balanced life, mental life, it creates this serotonin. Okay, I'm good where I am, as it is, and enjoying this process, and I feel complete. And it's there. Okay, the abundance of everything, of whatever you want: health, better relationship, more patience, more forgiveness, or perhaps more wealth. And it's up to you. So eventually you learn that these connotations of abundance are only linked to wealth. You find out that that is not true. Doesn't mean that you cannot go after that. You still can go after that. Okay, but you want to go there, not compromising ethic and morals. You know, having this success apparently, while you're hurting other people. Okay, and while you're ignoring the pain that some of the decisions that are made, you know, are creating others. So you want to go and sleep well at night and wake up with the same motivation. You know it's there every day. You know it's there. You may not have a good relationship now because of some issues maybe that have been created. Okay, but you know the romance, the friendship is there. Okay, and you know that it's there. It is this capacity of the people you love to love also. There is capacity of you to love everybody. You may not be there yet, but you know this capacity, you have it, and it's there. And you move forward through your goals as you change and make the adjustments you need while you live in this life.
And something I do also want to, I guess, point out or share is that as you consider the possibilities, because I think at times, especially maybe if you under a lot of stress, maybe you just have never even tried to consider the possibilities. I think sometimes you might need to, I guess, borrow. I don't want to say borrow someone else's possibility, but almost like you need to see something different. So even like this is what I mean. So let's just say, going back to the example of the whole, there's no space on Earth. We're going around out of space. You might think that if you live in New York or in Hong Kong, you might think that, oh my gosh, there's no space. Everything is so crowded. But what would happen if you were to drive through parts of Utah, parts of Texas, travel to Paraguay, where there's all this land, like so much space available? You'd come to realize, oh my gosh, there actually is space on, we're not running out of room. And I think in a similar way, if you are struggling with considering, getting healthier, or, that there are other opportunities, out there in the job market, it might be good to start to maybe be around people who are also, who do have that mentality of like, oh, there are opportunities. There's a good quote that someone says, don't discuss your doubts with other doubters.
Yeah.
And I think, sometimes when we have this mentality of like, oh, there's no job on the market, I'm going to be poor forever, I'm never going to get a job. Sometimes we have that tendency to talk, that way with other people who think that way, when that's not going to help. If you start talking to people who actually do see those opportunities, that might help you to start considering the possibilities.
And the other part is sometimes social media, the news portray, the limited abundance. And when it comes to the news, that's their job. No, for them it's abundance because they can actually have a lot of employees and grow. Okay, so that's their job. See, our job is to be informed, but not necessarily engage. Okay, because this is just one angle which is presented, so for you to be aware, and not necessarily represent the entire world, the entire people. You see crimes, you see corruption, you see, financial crisis, but the money never disappears. Okay, the percentage of criminals are small. The percentage of people that are racist are very small. I mean, of course, they can make a lot of noise because the news is there to sell their news. No, there is, some governmental officials that are corrupted. There is politicians that actually they lie to just get votes, but that doesn't necessarily represent everybody. So just be careful. The fact that you hear something in the news or somebody sends you something, it doesn't represent all of us, because all of us, they're better than this minority of people that are really I mean, they're just in crisis. So they got a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and they just want to say what they think, be respectful as far as there is not affecting your life and not affecting, physically, then just move on and allow these individuals, to learn through life. Maybe they will learn, maybe not. And you represent yourself and be sure that you are part of this amazing world and enjoy instead of suffering for years and years.